experience. Environmental issues are all important nowadays, and this is Fife Fire Rescue's idea that in the event of any environmental spillage, chemicals, etc., this is their protection unit which is mobilised. A selection of equipment on there which would stop will allow the firefighters to approach first of all the contaminated area and then hopefully clear up the area without any further danger to members of the public. Another brand new vehicle just out of the box on Friday. It's a Movano here. This is destined to go to Falcon Fire Station. It's fitted with a high pressure fogging unit and it will have some line rescue stuff equipment on it as well, but it's basically designed to cover the Forth and Clyde Canal section which goes through Central, so that if anything happens to anything on or persons on the pleasure boats, including the Falcon Wheel area, then that would be the vehicle that would be mobilised along with the bigger type of pumping appliance, and it can access all the tow paths. Again, the big difference from the wee Land Rovers, this is the latest generation for Strathclyde for the volunteer support units, now carrying breathing apparatus and a huge selection of ladders, and more importantly, a whole host of road traffic accident equipment, hydraulic cutters and spreaders, due to the information and the type of calls that we're getting. Again, I told you that the pod system was becoming more popular. This is Fife's answer to the non-carrier, again on the Blue FM9, and again that's the way that Fife carry their urban research and rescue and or environmental pod, or environmental spill kits. Again on an FM9 chassis, the rear steel on it is a six-wheeler. And I told you about Grampian having different coloured fire engines. They've gone from red to pink, and now this is the latest livery. It's the latest man water tender ladder rescue pump. Again, right out of the factory on a separate plate, and again in the white livery of Grampian Fire Rescue Service. I told you there was one of the vehicles here that was just right out of the box. And this is it. Just left the factory on Friday afternoon. Brought up here by emergency, one from Cumnock who manufactured them. So we're very pleased to have them on board. This vehicle is destined for Inverness. It's one of a pair which will be shortly commissioned up there. And again, carrying both water, foam, road rescue equipment, and all the various ladders. It's not carrying it at the present time, but we'll be carrying a full range of ladders on the roof of the vehicle. Now, this is where we try and give you a bit of a history lesson, because going back to the 1960s, and then bringing you up to date, in the 1960s we had various types of fire engines for the various types of jobs that we actually got in. The first vehicle coming in is a Dennis, on an F8 chassis powered by a Rolls-Royce engine. But that was known as a water tender, the reason for that being the throwback to the Second World War, when obviously when you went to more rural areas you didn't have water for firefighting. So when a tank put onto these with 1800 litres of water. So this was known as the water tender, and this actually covered the more rural areas where there wasn't a hydrant in every corner. Second vehicle coming in again is a pump escape. This one served most of its time up in Lerwick in the Shetland Isles. And you can see on the roof of it the large wooden field escape ladder, again a throwback to Victorian times where they were wheeled through the streets, then they were drawn by horses, and now on the pump escape here. So this enabled firefighters to actually rescue people up to 50 feet or 30 odd meters in the air. So going on from that, we've got water, we've now got ladders. The next move was that if you had an incident which involved flammable liquids, you couldn't put the fire or extinguish the fire with water, so we had to have specialist vehicles which carried foam. So we then had a foam tender, and this is a good example of a small foam tender. And with the increase in our attendance as a fire service, before the days of the fire and rescue, we had to carry specialist tools. Hydraulic cutters, spreaders, lighting units, etc., chemical suits, and we had the vehicle which these days was called an emergency tender. So in point of fact, here we have do something. We can get water, we can get up height, we can get foam, and we can have hydraulic cutters and spreaders on this vehicle. The one thing we couldn't do was have an aerial, so if we were above 13.5 metres or 50 feet, how did you get your equipment up into that height? And this was the answer, the turntable ladder. This ladder could go up to 30 metres in the air, and that enabled water or foam to be put out or rescues to be carried out. And this was a good example. So we now have 5 different types of appliances for the various events. What you're now going to see is £500,000 worth of all 5 concepts of the vehicles that are passed on the very first one into this country, the McGregor Multi-Star, which is basically a water tendon ladder rescue bus, and it also has a 31-metre rim on the roof. So those are the steel loaders. That one in actual fact is destined for Stirling. There's another one going to Falkirk. But those of you staying loading in boards will be pleased to know that you have 2 of these on order as well. So you're going to have the technology of 5 fire engines, as used to be, now rolled into one with 6 firefighters, which will attend every incident. It will enable them to deal with 99.9% of the calls that we are now getting in the fire service, or fire and rescue service, I should say. So we'll let them just go around there.
You're on there, Bruce? That's so many. On the bottle again.
Now, you may be aware, I did hear some say that one of the most weighted moments for emergency Truckfest was where they made a lot of noise. Now, I did hear some of the wreckers in the arena earlier on, and I thought it was pretty pathetic. I have to say, if any of you guys are out there, or ladies, I thought that the noises that you were making were pretty pathetic, these silly bullhorns, etc. So I just wonder whether these guys in the arena here can maybe do any better. So I think what I'll ask them to do as a fit and finish to the thing would be to, let's see if you can do any better.